What do you say, everybody? We're back. We didn't get fired. We just took the week off. There's Jake over there. I'm Mick. This is time for Elephant in the Room, part of Disrupt the Media. We're disrupting the media. We're trying anyway. Let me remind you guys, though, that we're brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag with the promo code Next Round. Get half up to $1,000 price match when you make your wagers over there. And a lot going on, including the big game. Can we say Super Bowl in here? The big game on Sunday that does not include my Ravens, which was,
man, it was a
heartbreaking.
sad day for you, wasn't it?
Hell yeah, it was. Let's get. I mean, we can talk about that, but first, I just want to tell you guys thank you for being here. Jake Coker, I'm Mick Gillispie. What's up, dude? It's a heartbreaker for me.
Yeah, sad day today for me. First favorite country music artist passed away today. Toby Keith.
Man, loved him, man.
Oh yeah.
Should have been a cowboy. There was this
Angry American, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue.
Man, I tell you what, I loved him too. I loved that first album. You know, I talk about all the time about Bull Corey Oakman, my concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they had him booked.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had him booked, and his second album came out after the first. Remember, the first one was great, right?
Oh yeah.
And the second one came out, and they bought him out of the deal because he was only going to make like $5,000 or $10,000 to go to Oakman, and now he was doing stadium tours.
Yeah.
We always talked about that, but Toby Keith was a badass, man.
Well, you know, there's not too many people in the music industry or actors that I actually call a childhood hero, but a guy like him, did all the wartime tours for all the veterans,
USO.
And the service, the active duty guys. I mean, I consider him like a childhood hero of mine.
Yeah, you should. He's awesome. He was awesome.
Oh man, I saw today. Well, when it was announced that he passed away, I saw a video of him singing "Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue."
Great song.
And right after the "Put a Boot in Your Ass" lyric, all the servicemen and women, get up and go crazy. And I mean, I was seriously almost brought tears to my eyes just watching it. I
remember when that song came out. I mean, I think I've talked about it on here. My son's named after a guy that was killed in combat, we watched, he had a cheesesteak place. And for those of you that are OGs like me, it was right across the street from the gas station on the strip, the one that's right on the strip. It was called Fat Phillies. And my buddy Jake was from Philly, and he had great Alabama guy, though, like just one walk-on football player and that kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And he opened this place up, and he called me. He's like, "Gillispie, get over here." So I go over there, and we watched the whole day of people jumping out of the buildings and firing. And he closed the place down and went back into. He had been in the service before and went back in, and then that wasn't good enough for him, and he joined the CIA's Blackwater.
He closed his restaurant and then
left.
Went.
He said he couldn't do it anymore. He had to go track down the people that took the towers out.
Oh my god!
How about that, man?
That's
badass
an American
dude.
Right there.
Yeah. And that song came out, and I remember thinking about I used to get these calls, man, and it was back when you were probably really young, but they used to have these little before. You had this kind of cell phone.
I was 9 when.
Well, you were 9.
September 11th.
Okay,
occurred.
So you remember then. Remember then. What year were you born?
92.
Okay, so you're my brother's age. My brother's like a year older than you.
Okay.
So so you get it. You remember they used to have those the caller ID boxes that plugged into the phone?
Oh yeah.
So when he was over there and he went into working for Blackwater, like with the CIA, like it would either come. He would call my house at the corner of Reed and Caplewood, the one that flooded out all the time that I told you about. And it would either say like it would come in blank, like nothing would come up, or it would say CIA.
And you knew.
Yeah, or so it would, or maybe not CIA, but it would say something that gave you an idea that it was like some, and he'd
U.S.
like,
government office.
Yeah, over in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he was in Afghanistan first, and then Iraq, and he'd be like, Gillispie, go to my house. I had a nightmare that someone stole my Derek Thomas jersey. Like, all right, man, I'll go over there. It's still here, you know.
Well, how's everything going? That's not important. Go check on Derek Thomas.
Huge Eagles fan. But I always thought of that song though, man. Like when
oh man,
dedicated to those guys.
That's like, I mean, just I've told this story on this podcast before, but when Kaylee Hartung came over and was FaceTiming my brother while he was watching the watching the game in a tent in the Middle East, like it just put me to tears right there, pretty much. It makes you feel so small, even though you're playing on the biggest stage in college football. It made me feel so little, at that time, just thinking about him over in that tent. And as they showed the servicemen and women, all over the world on the video board, and the American flag stretched out over the field.
It's unbelievable, man.
And then Toby Keith represents basically patriotic country. It's just sad to see him gone, And at 62, 61, 62.
No, 62. He had stomach cancer.
Yeah.
And I just can't. Honestly, I saw him recently, and I thought, man, he has just lost so much weight.
Yeah.
Cancer is such a bad disease, and I hate it, man.
Yeah, my grandfather, my dad's dad, passed away from cancer, and I know that they think a lot of that is attributed to, he was at one of the first atomic bomb testing.
Oh yeah, that's what happened to John Wayne, they said too.
Yeah, and he had to go clean the decks of the ships that were nearby the detonation.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was it Bikini Atoll? I think we got that name right. But they think a lot of that was attributed to being that exposure.
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all. I mean,
yeah. I mean, do you know how they found out about and I didn't know this till my brother told me. He's in, I don't know if I even share all this, but he's in nuclear silos. He's with the Air Force. And when they were detonating a lot of those nuclear bombs in Nevada, in New York, they were processing film, and they couldn't figure out what all these particles were in the air.
Really?
And it was either Polaroid, or it was one of the big camera companies. They got a forensic scientist to look at these photos, and they're like, the only thing this could be is nuclear fallout. And
the pictures picked it up
in New York.
Really?
All the way from Nevada.
Wow.
And so that's how the public, I mean, I believe, don't cite me on this, but I believe that's how the public found out we had the nuclear missile or nuclear bomb.
Back in the day, huh?
Because the film in New York picked up nuclear fallout from Nevada.
I don't know if I should say it on here, but that's why every time there's tests, there's UFOs above the test. It's a whole nother podcast, but you know where I'm going with this. Yeah. You know where I'm going.
We need to look that up while we're just so we got the facts right.
Yeah, well, you look it up, because I know from studying the extraterrestrial life like I do, and I've talked about this. Every time there's like something nuclear significant, it's like when China had, or Japan had the tsunami, and then the nuclear reactor got blown up when Chernobyl happened. They're constantly over top of the nuclear warships and subs and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother. We should do that. We should talk all about it one day.
Tin Hat podcast.
I'm not. I mean, you can say that, but I mean, like the thing I will say is this: is that 200 years ago, or 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or whatever it was, before people really had like the ability. Well, maybe let's just say 2,000 years ago, right? I don't even know if I'm right on years, but before people really sailed, they didn't know about sharks, right? And somebody was swimming and got eaten, and people were like, "Oh my God, like there's fish that eat people. And then the rumors got back and people were like, oh, no, that's crazy. We saw this thing and it had arms everywhere. And then it's so that's what I think is going. I think that's where we're at right now with.
Well, that's why the world's in shambles right now. I mean, you think about the technological advances in the last century. I mean, I'll put myself in that cat. People are dumb. Like we're not ready for this.
Yeah. Well, look, this thing right here. I broke my.
Oh yeah. The phone is.
Oh, dude, I'm a little dark on my on the show today because I broke my my light. My little personal light that I have over here. I broke yesterday I did a show and I used the flash on there and it would look great. I just want to have my phone here right now. Can't do that for 2 hours or whatever we're going to talk today. These things are crazy. Like all the stuff you do with them.
They didn't even have computer technology. What, 60 years ago? Dude, and all of a sudden you're carrying a supercomputer in your pocket.
I know. Let's come back to this and do a whole show on this because I think I could do me.
I could do, and me.
Yeah. I think you could do it too.
We talk about sports on here, and I do Alabama football and Alabama athletics, the basketball, all this stuff. And I watch all Alabama basketball and Alabama football,
hoops
pretty religiously.
Yeah.
Good win Saturday, by the way. But the podcast I listen to the most is have you listened to Patrick Bet David podcast?
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's where I get a lot of my info from.
I'm a big Rogan guy. You like Rogan too?
I like Rogan too.
I think like his ability, man, I'm a play-by-play guy. I'm gonna say that. You know this, right?
Yeah.
And then I go back and watch and I'm like, we're entertaining, but why can't I be more like Rogan? Where I just ask a question and get the F out of the way.
For 3 hours he can
He's so good at it.
And he's so disarming.
Yeah. Great dude.
You actually you meet the person that you want to meet. You hear where they come from, how they act. And he's just there's an art to it and he's figured it out.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, go watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Bob Lazar. That's your homework, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, well, let's talk about us.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, we're going to switch gears because I'll get in that hole and I'm going to have to get my tin hat on. So I got back from Key West. I missed you last week. I had the worst internet ever. We wanted to do the show remote. Like we've done it before when I was in the mountains and then you were hunting, but I went and visited Father Carl, who's really like my dad. He's the reason I do play-by-play and he's why I got into sports broadcasting. He was just instrumental as a kid to me.
Yeah.
He reminded me about the time he took me to meet Reggie Jackson when I was a kid, which was pretty awesome.
How do you know him?
So long story short, he knew my mom. And then is
he from Baltimore?
Yeah, he's from Baltimore.
Okay.
So
he moved to Key West?
He lives in Boca Raton. So he's the priest of the parish in Boca Raton, Ascension Catholic. And I've known him my whole life. And he knew I didn't have a great family home situation. He just knew that. And just for some reason, he just took me under his wing. He send me Dallas Cowboy magazine again, like when I was a kid. And then took me to Orioles games and we would do play-by-play while we were driving to the games, And now it's like I send him stuff now. I send him a Ray Lewis picture, frame picture. And
how many of these bad boys you sent him?
He's not an Alabama guy. He actually hates Alabama, which I told him that. I said, "How can you hate Alabama?" He said, "We win too much."
Is he a Catholic priest?
He's Catholic. I'm Catholic. Yeah.
You want to send him one of those Notre Dame?
I would love to. I didn't ask him if he was a Notre Dame fan. I said, "Winning's fun." Unlike the Ravens, because I told them we were going to lose. Like the Ravens don't win. But then I went from there to Island Murata, which is right past Key Largo.
Yeah.
I did a night there, and then I went to Marathon, and it was awful. I got duped by Priceline on my stay there. Like they showed me these cottages that I was going to stay in, and a tiki hut and all this stuff, and then it ended up being like some like side house room at a house.
Yeah.
So then I busted out to Key West, and it was amazing.
I've never been down there. I've been to Palm Beach. Love Palm Beach.
This is better than Palm Beach. Man, what I came back, and Stephanie hasn't really been this excited about me saying this, but I've decided that in about 8 years, I'm going to learn how to play guitar, and I'm going to do like, I'm going to be one of those guys that shows up at 3:00 at places like Rick's. I got my Rick shirt on right now. And I just like play guitar and make fun of people in the audience.
You'd be good at that.
I know. You should do it with me. You know how to play any instruments?
No. People have told me I sound like Elvis a little bit.
Do you?
But, I don't know. Do I?
You can sing.
You tell me.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to learn how to do something, because I sat in this place called Rick's, which is right on Duval. And I watched this guy, and he's kind of like Big Earl, but he's a one-man Big Earl, but he's, from the Floribama, and he's in there and he's just like ripping on people and singing, and it's funny. And I'm going, man, I don't want to live in a house. I want to live in a boat somewhere out there. And then I just come in and do my shows and then roll back out.
Oh yeah.
The whole winter time.
Man, you go to the Floribama, again, I've never been down to Key West, but you go to the Floribama at 20 years old and you come out feeling like you're about 35.
You want to go to Riley Green?
Did
you see that?
Yes, I'm going.
Duckman?
I'm going, yeah. I'm going. You know who else is coming to town?
Yeah, Tracy Lawrence.
Yes, I'm going to that.
Yeah.
And also Kid Rock coming to Mobile.
Oh, yeah, we got to go to that. I got to go with you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the hookup for the Mobile one, but the Floribama one, I got us covered.
Oh yeah, we're going to that one.
Yeah, we got that one.
Yeah.
So that was, the trip was great, and I told the bartender at Rick's was she was amazing. And I swear this is the thing. Like, for those of you guys that are watching and you go to Key West, go by Rick's and get the Bloody Mary. Man, I'm a Bloody Mary connoisseur.
I'm a Bloody Mary freak.
The best I've ever had.
Really?
I'm not shitting you. I mean, like, it was like I watched her make one, and I'm like I gotta have that. And then I had it. I was like, it was amazing.
What city would you think would have the best Bloody Marys? Because I wouldn't imagine
Key West being the one.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but it was just the way that they made it. Like, it was kind of like it was a little bit darker, like it was, but it was spicy. And I've had, I mean, I can't even, I was going through pictures today because I was looking for something, and I'm going back to college and I'm looking at my zaps from college and everything. I'm like, man, I've done a lot of drinking in my life. like I realized, like, I've drank a lot in my lifetime. And, but I've had a lot of Bloody Marys, but man, I've never had one that good. Man. Rick's. And I told her, I said, I'm going to tell everybody, and they're coming. She's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. Because people like me, they want a good Bloody Mary, a great Bloody Mary.
I would have thought, well, I did have some good ones. My wife loves Charleston.
Oh, yeah.
Great
Charleston
food
city.
Would be like the capital of Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
I did have one really, really good one at Queen 82, I think.
Okay.
Have you been to Charleston?
I've been there, but I went with Alabama baseball. Back when I used to do play-by-play for them.
Who'd they play?
Charleston Southern. Here, you talk, because I got to find out why I'm not plugged in.
No, but we went, and I had a hell of a Bloody Mary from Queen 82. I think that's what it's called. But other than that, the Bloody Marys, again, if I go somewhere for brunch or anywhere around lunchtime on a vacation and they got a Bloody Mary,
I'm in.
I'm
in too, man.
Oh, yeah.
And look, I'll tell you some places that I've had good Bloody Marys. Okay. Brick and Spoon, great Bloody Mary.
Yeah. It's pretty
like,
good.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's huge and you can put all the shit in there that you want. Like, yeah. I'm down for that, Like I like pudding.
I like a bunch of stuff in it too.
Me too. Normally, right?
I mean,
me too.
Bacon, olives. I mean,
well, being from Maryland, like there's a place called Rock Salt in my town. I'm sitting at a bar in Marathon by myself, and these guys start talking to me, and the kid, they're from Maryland, and the one kid, the guy's son went to college in my hometown, and we were talking about Rock Salt. Great Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Crab meat, like jumbo lump.
I would think, I would think Maryland is
great
is
one.
a capital of Bloody Mary.
But this didn't have. It had one pickle in it. It's not like it was like stacked of shit.
I'm glad you said that. I was with somebody from Arkansas this weekend, and they said they never had a pickle in their Bloody Mary. It's like, you're not a real Bloody Mary guy. Right?
That's bullshit.
I swear to God.
I don't even know how to respect. I don't even believe they're Bloody Mary people.
Then I was about to say, you don't even know what a Bloody Mary is.
That's like, yeah.
People make fun of Alabama for being, No.
But this one had like one big spear of pickle, but the flavor was just perfect. Like it was like,
I love salty Bloody Marys.
Dude, I wish we could. I said next year we should just like take the show down there. You come with, they bring the families.
Instead of your beer show, we'll do a Bloody Mary show.
Yeah. And go, I'm telling you, man, and it was just the consistency, the flavor. Like,
oh yeah.
I loved it.
There's nothing worse though than being all excited to get a Bloody Mary
and it sucks.
And getting a terrible Bloody Mary.
Yeah. I went to Shuckers bitter, there.
Nothing. Just
it's watery.
Oh yeah.
The shrimp. They put a shrimp in it. It looks like it's been out all night. I know, man. Like I'm watching her make this, and I'm like, this is a textbook perfecto Bloody Mary. And then I tried it, and I was like, man, this is the best Bloody Mary.
It's as good as it looked.
Better.
Oh,
better. So you guys go to Rick's and tell me what you think. But I mean. Because I know there's people that are like me, like that this is the time of year where you go to Key West.
Yeah, Bloody Marys. I don't know how you don't like a Bloody Mary.
I don't either. Willie Nelson sang a song called Bloody Mary Morning.
He's had a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, if you have a really I mean, look, if you're hungover, it's a good way to kind of get the day started.
Oh yeah. Wedding weekend.
Yeah.
Bloody Mary's always the answer.
That shows your age. Like I've been through that span.
I'm on my marriage span. I'm on my last.
You're on the end of it now.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's like
now. It's all my buddies that I thought would never settle down.
Right. They've held out longer.
That's right. You're almost. You're happy they're finally doing it. They can calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the good
we've
thing.
All got them.
Oh well, then the next thing's going to be the second time around. Everybody's going back around the second time.
Hey, we're not going out of the country for this bachelor party.
No. No, man. They're expensive, man.
Well, they've gotten crazy nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
where'd you go for your? Did you have a bachelor party, and where'd you go?
We just went up to my in-laws hunting camp.
Oh.
Father-in-law. Hell, my idea of a bachelor party though is.
Shooting deer?
No, we didn't do that. We played golf. There's a golf course up there, Cambion Ridge.
Yeah.
And then we just came back and hung out, drank a few beers, and I don't know. I like spending time with everybody there, and actually be like a good memory where you're hanging out with everybody. You go to some bachelor parties and everybody gets separated. You're at a casino or something, and you lose half the group, and then finally Sunday rolls around and you're like, what'd y'all do Saturday?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like you just don't get the time with everybody. And, I want everybody in my wedding party to, I want to spend time with them and have fun, But gambling on bachelor parties is pretty fun too.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
one of my best, we had a bachelor party in Biloxi.
That'd be
for
fun.
A buddy of mine, Garrett. He had first time I ever bet on Auburn, but he's an Auburn grad, and a lot of his party was Auburn. And there's nothing like hitting a 3-game parlay with a group of about 12 guys who all had the same bets. I mean, it's like throwing a touchdown in the Super Bowl when it finally hits. But I was an Auburn fan that night.
Those are the days, man.
That's probably my favorite bet I ever made. $100 to win 1,000.
Oh, nice.
It was Washington, Vandy, and Auburn, and they all hit.
Those are the way. Sometimes you get into like when it comes to like gambling, you can go to my bookie and you throw down. Like, I remember telling Mike Johnson one time, I'm like, I can't miss right now, and he's like, oh yeah, give me 5 teams.
Yeah.
And he took like $10 and made like $5,000. You know what I mean? Like, where you just kind of can feel it. You know?
Yeah. I felt that way most of probably 80% of the college football season this year.
Yeah.
And the last 20. Well, when the bowl games hit, that's when I turned into a nightmare.
That's when I won all my money. That helped pay for Key West. And I don't know when they're going to ever ask me to come back on because I win their stuff every time they invite me. I told you, every time they invite me, I win. So
that's right.
I'm like the guy they just want to leave off the group. But I had a terrible year. I mean, you talk about like my year was shitty. Shitty. I mean, like I never, until the bowl games, I never got into a groove this year.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that tends to be the time when anybody can get lucky.
I'm not gonna listen to a word of that. I'm not gonna listen to.
You're not gonna entertain that?
No. All right, let's talk about Bama football. I mean, we're only 26 minutes in.
I met Kane last week, Senior Bowl. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were at the Senior Bowl. I mean,
I'm sorry, I met Kalen. Saw Kane.
Yeah,
I had to give Kane a little shit. I texted him, told him how excited I was, about him.
Well, he blew you off. I heard he's been blowing a lot of people off.
He blew me
off.
That's what
I heard.
Oh yeah,
because he's busy.
Oh yeah, and I heard he walked into a school down here, and it might have been St. Paul's, but he walked in and he said, "Hey man, Kane Womack, head coach," and Kalen was like, "What?" Kalen was like, "Sorry, man. I'm used to it. I've gotten too used to it."
I love the fact that he's there, man.
Oh, I do too. I love him. Man, his wife is an animal. She's an animal. She's all out. She was at I saw Kane last night too. And she was there, man. She's just a beast. He's got a football family. He's going to be great, in my opinion.
Well, they're doing great in recruiting, getting Ryan Williams back, and that to me was like we had about 10 or 11 days where it felt like the air was coming out of the balloon.
Oh yeah,
and those guys got this thing turned around. Now remember tomorrow's National Signing Day, so something bad could happen, but I don't think it's going to.
No, it's not going to happen.
I think people like these guys.
Oh, I think so too. But they also have a group of guys that around the program that are Alabama guys that recruit. They're going to keep that culture of recruiting down here. That know how to talk to people and network around here. Yeah, I'll take it. Guys like Denzel DeVall.
Yeah.
And he's kind of an unsung hero within the program, but I don't know how many times he's met with Ryan, come down here, had dinner with him. He's a recruiting machine. And I say that, I don't mean that in a way that he finds a way to get guys. It's just his personality and who he is gets people to Alabama because he's just got a magnetic type of personality.
Yeah.
He was a part of my recruiting visit. When I played at Alabama, he was a guy that I loved and respected. He's just one of those guys that he'll always have a job at Alabama no matter what. Because he brings too much value. Just even if he said, all I'm going to do is just get people here. And I'm not I'm not asking for money to pay these guys. I'm just going to meet with them, talk to them, make them feel comfortable, and get them here. And I'm going to treat them with respect, and I'm going to take care of them when they get here. I mean, that's all he'd have to do.
Really?
He's just that good. People don't know it, and his name's not thrown out there in Tuscaloosa, but he is one of the most important pieces of the Alabama football program, especially this year. He's as important as anybody. I wish he got a little bit more notoriety for what he's done.
Yeah.
Of course, it probably is good. You know, he gets to live his life and stay under the radar. But I don't know. Guys like him deserve a lot of credit for keeping the ship right.
Yeah. So I was going back through pictures. I don't know if we've talked about it on here, but when you came to Alabama, they had the National Signing Day thing at Alabama. I was the guy that like took the, Jake Coker, like you faxed in your thing and then I put it up on the board, right? And then it was filmed by ESPN.
Yeah.
And it was on National Signing Day, which was now.
Yeah.
Before they effed it up with the early signing thing, right? This tomorrow used to be, Wednesday.
Like a national holiday.
It was great. Yeah, like I don't understand why they let them ruin it so much. Because it was awesome how it used to be.
They just don't know what they're doing.
They have
no idea what
clown
to do.
Shit, man.
Yeah, they have no idea what to do. And the best thing they could do is get Coach Saban to run it all.
Yeah.
Let him set the rules and figure it out.
Get out of the way.
And just get out of the way.
Yeah, man.
Because he's the only one who understands every dynamic within that situation and can handle it all and do it in a professional manner where everybody agrees and respects the decision.
Do you remember how cool it used to be? Like National Signing Day, like I would take off of work because I wanted to.
I still remember watching Julio sign.
Me too.
I mean,
I took off of work that day.
Oh yeah, him and Robert Lester.
Oh yeah.
I still remember those guys.
That was the beginning of Here We Come.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ryan Williams. I hope he turns into a Julio. I hope he does.
The guy's 16 years old.
I know. I was telling somebody the other day. Somebody said, man, he's so small. He's so skinny. He's just so little. I was like, dude, he's 16. When I was 16, I was 6'1", 170 pounds. When I was a senior in high school, I was 6'5", 215.
Yeah, right.
The senior Jake would have beat the shit out of the sophomore
Jake. Which Jake did you like? Which Jake did you like better? Senior Jake or sophomore Jake?
Yeah, it was a lot better being 6'5", 215
yeah.
than it was being 6'1", 175. Because I was always the one that was playing up in high school.
Yeah.
And so I was still small enough for all those guys, all the seniors, to beat the hell out of me when I was a sophomore and a freshman.
Man, that's so funny you said that. My godson's like a great baseball player in Mid-Atlantic, and I told his dad, I'm like, Greg, he's got to play up.
Oh yeah.
Always taking an ass whooping. Now he's like starting to
Oh yeah. Well,
he's really good still.
It humbles you a lot. It's good for you.
Yeah, I mean, like he's played in in baseball, not football, but like constantly played up. Like he never plays with kids his own age. They never has.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you hadn't been through it's like that guy you always hear about in fraternities, and I've never been in a fraternity, but you always hear about the guy in the fraternity who's always like loving, just rubbing his hands together whenever he gets to torture some freshman.
Oh, I know the guy you're talking about. I do know the guy you're talking about. I do. Exactly, it's called hazing, and I do know that. And that was the opposite of me. Because can you imagine me hazing anybody?
Oh, I mean, it's the same. I can't imagine.
But that guy, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean. And all the guys who have been humbled before and gotten the shit kicked out of them, they understand and they don't want to do that.
No, the guy's dead, so I don't even want to mention his name. But I'm already. I know exactly everybody that knows me that was in my fraternity. You know exactly who he's talking about. But I guess every fraternity had one.
Oh yeah.
Where guys like ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Just loving every moment of it.
And it's like, man, I never was into that at all. Like, never. Now, I mean, I like to mess with people.
I like fun hazing where everybody can laugh it off at the end, even the guy that's the target.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's great. You know, that's all good and fun.
That's what it's supposed to be like.
Once you start really embarrassing people and hurting people, I mean, that's you're like, that's where I draw.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Well, you didn't miss anything.
No, I was never in a fraternity, but
could you guys have done a fraternity if you wanted
to? Yeah, you could. I mean, you know, again, it'd almost be like, I feel like an affiliation because you wouldn't have enough time to do anything really outside of maybe show up on a Saturday of an early game. But I mean,
I'm sure with Saban there, it was probably pretty busy.
I never even thought about it, you know. I had a couple bids at Florida State, but I mean,
did you? Which ones?
The Pike,
Lambda.
No, Pike and KA at Florida State.
Ah, okay, my fraternity.
So yeah,
okay. We could have been brothers.
We could have been brothers. So I could have done it, but I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't. I like doing my own thing, you know. And
GDI, they call it.
Yeah, GDI. That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
That's
Nothing
what I
wrong
was.
with that.
Which I would have had. I think I'd enjoyed it, but you know,
it would have been too hard to play football and drink beer and go on all those dates with the women and parties and stuff. You know, nothing you would
living in a flooded basement.
Hey, the flooded basement wasn't even the fraternity. That was just turned out to be a blessing, man. I was saving a lot of money on those months when that basement was flooded.
No, I think I'd have enjoyed it, but I just didn't have time to do it.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I mean, as you know, I'm not gonna commit to anything unless I have time to actually commit to it. But
you are. I will say this, man. Like you're a thought out guy. You know, I like that about you. Like you kind of have a game plan. Like you're not walking into something like ready to get like a booby trap. You know what I mean? Like
there's a lot of thought that goes into every move. Yeah,
yeah.
Because I picture all the things that could possibly come out as a negative. I guess in a negative light, and I don't know. You just. Are the benefits worth the negativity?
Yeah, right, right. Well, we'll see. Tomorrow will be National Signing Day, and your recruiting class at Alabama was awesome. And wasn't it Reuben Foster that like flipped on Auburn at the last second?
Man, honestly, I didn't even know. It was so weird when I came in because I was older than everybody that signed, and so I honestly didn't know who was in my recruiting class as freshman when I showed up. I mean, I was there. I was there as a let's see. I came in over the summer early, and so I was there before anybody else was there, any of the freshmen or anything. So when I showed up, the entire team was together, the freshmen included, and I didn't know who was new, who had been there.
Right.
You know, I was just kind of picking up the pieces and trying to
throw some footballs.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, again, I spent my spring break up there, my last spring break at Florida State up there, and from then on, I kind of just tried to integrate. And I didn't know who the freshmen were and all that until a few months in.
Right. So, what did you think of Coach DeBoer? What did your meeting with him go like? Did you say, "Hey"?
I didn't.
Did you go up to him and say, "You got to come on you got to get on the blue couch. You got to come to the Elephant in the Room podcast"?
I don't think he'd drink beer and talk shit with us.
He seems like he's a lot nicer than the two of us.
Yeah. You know,
which I like him, man. I think that this is a good direction for Alabama.
No,
nothing.
When I said that, I don't mean that like a negative. There's no negative connotation.
No, I know what you're saying though. You're saying that he's pretty focused.
I think it's best for the kids. What's best for the kids is also what's best for the program. And I think he embodies all that.
Yeah.
He's a good example.
Yeah.
I'm
bought in on him, man.
The only, Coach Saban was very rough around the edges, but also professional.
Yeah.
And when he made a speech, he didn't mind stepping on toes and saying things. He knew there was an art to saying things that could possibly cross lines, but still had a huge impact on everybody that heard it.
Yeah, right.
And he was very, very good at doing that.
Yeah.
And then when he got around the players, I mean, he cussed a little bit in interviews and in speeches. And when he got to the players, I mean, he understood. He grew up a lot like a lot of the players he coached. He didn't have much.
Kind of like me, probably.
Yeah, had to work hard.
Yeah.
I mean, now he
said he had holes in his jeans.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I love that interview.
Yeah. Well, you appreciate things a lot more when you didn't grow up with it,
Well, when you have to work hard to accomplish things and kind of do it on your own, I mean, it's far more rewarding to do something where your talent, your intelligence, all that's what brought success, rather than have an easy pathway to success. And
I thought about
he earned everything he got.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. I thought about this a lot. Like, is it the journey or is it the destination?
Oh, the journey for sure.
And I mean, like, I've thought about this, like,
and you look back and you enjoy the hard times almost more than you enjoy the just sitting there.
Not when you're going through them, though.
Oh, I know.
But then I guess when you look back, you earn perspective.
But I mean,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but how much fun did you have with the guys that you struggled with? Well, I say that a journey where you struggled as an individual and had no help and there was no teammates. I don't know what that would be like, but that would be pretty tough.
And I got a story, man. I stopped by, wore my World Series ring to show Father Carl. And then on the way back, my uncle had his 75th birthday. So I surprised him. I went to his house in Tampa and I had my ring on. And my cousin was like, hey, remember that time that you have to, like, you were struggling in school to pay for shit, right? I was like, and this is Alabama, right?
Yeah.
And I pawned that pawn shop that got hit by the tornado. I pawned my Alabama class ring, which was 24 karat gold, to buy tires for my car. And my cousin brought that up, man. It's been like a long time now. And you're right, man. I was like, I got a World Series ring. You know what I mean? Like, I missed that ring. They don't even make those rings like that anymore. Like the 24. This Alabama ring was badass.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to go back and get it, but I just didn't have any money to do it, And so, but he brought that up, and I mean, totally random. But you're right. Like, it was one of those times where I was like, man, you know what? The journey. Like, when I sold that ring, I just needed tires for my car. Like, I wasn't, it wasn't like I was like, hey, like, I'm just trying to
I'm gonna invest this.
Yeah, no. It was like I remember looking at the tires on my car, and it will be, you could see like the steel coming out of like the bottom.
Oh yeah, the wiring. And all
that.
The
wiring, and me being like, and I they weren't even new tires. Like, I think I went and got like the guy with the used tires,
retreaded tires.
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
they've been used, and they had to go in and retread them.
Man, no, I don't know. I think it was just like one of these places like down there where they're in every town. It's like they're like, hey, I mean, like $25 a tire, Like, man, I got you some good tires, and then you go in, they're like, they're not quite bald yet,
We're getting there.
Yeah, and when he said that, I was like, and I'm driving my new car, and I'm like, okay, like,
oh yeah,
which I showed you my, which was after this, but I eventually I worked 3 jobs at Alabama during the summer one year to buy this Ford Bronco.
Yeah,
and I showed you a picture of it. Like, it was a badass truck,
Oh yeah,
that was after that, but like,
man.
Like, you're right though. The journey part of it is important.
Oh yeah, the I mean,
that's Raymond Noodle stays
depending
right there.
on the level of struggle you're in. I mean, some of it I know people are like never want to go back to that, but
no, I know that's
there's
like
a different kind of when you're struggling. There's a different kind of transparency you have. I feel like,
you
got
to keep showing up, man. My best advice is just keep showing up.
Oh yeah,
don't ever quit.
You realize what you were worried about 10 years ago didn't even matter.
I just think like half of it, like when I'm like teaching class or when I'm like telling, like going in is half of it is showing up, and people say that and you're like, what are you talking about? Like half of it is just showing up.
Consistency's everything.
Don't quit, man. Like don't quit. Like don't give up. Like no matter what it is, just keep showing up, because eventually you'll catch your break.
Oh yeah. I mean,
look at this beautiful studio.
It is a great studio.
It is great, man.
It is a great studio.
I miss doing like the only thing I did miss doing the show last week in here.
Well, it would kind of suck if you had everything you ever wanted, all
then what
the
are
time.
You striving for? Right?
I mean, that's retire. I don't know how people retire. It just, I feel like it just drive me crazy.
I think that you get. I think as important as it is for you to find personal success, it's that important to help other people.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, like I try to do that. Now I'm not trying to give anybody anything, but I'm just trying to.
If you know somebody is willing to work hard,
teach them how to do it, man.
Oh yeah, or all they need is just an introduction somewhere, or
some advice.
Oh yeah, I mean. The worst is, trying to stick your neck out there and for somebody is not going to fulfill their end of the deal.
I'm thinking of a radio host that I did that for, and they let me down. I'm not going to say who it is, but I think you know who I'm talking about. And it's like, you're like, man, like.
Can't keep doing this.
No.
Because at some point, nobody's going to listen to me anymore.
Yeah, like, well, if I say you can do something and then it's bad on me.
Well, yeah. I mean, then your credibility.
Yeah, right out the window.
Gone.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, that's all you work for is credibility and a reputation which people can respect. And
we've had some great shows, man. We've had some great shows, and the one with Shank, I just love Shank, man. I gotta tell you, and I went the other day. I watched. Then I watched the next round, and then our show came on, and I'm working, and I just like let it play, and it was the one with Shank.
Oh yeah,
very controversial show.
Were you working for 3 hours?
Yeah,
it was a long one.
I watched the first hour.
Yeah,
and I'm like, these guys are boring. No, I'm just kidding. No, I had
all the way up until the snake bite part.
Like I'm getting away from these guys.
Let me tell you.
I love Shank, but you know what I'm saying? And hold that is that he was talking about like. What you have is your reputation and your name. And I loved when he said that.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you make, what you do. If people respect you for just not even if you're all that intelligent, does a guy do right more than wrong,
right,
and really try to strive for that. I mean, that's the main goal is people knowing you're a good guy and you'll do what you say and people appreciate your work ethic. But I will say that show, I saw my grandmother-in-law. She'll see this. She said, y'all are teaching me a lot of new vocabulary on that show. I feel like I warned her before that Shank show came out. I was like, don't listen to that one.
Look at this. Man, how crazy is this?
What's that?
My cousin's kid is coming to Alabama. Just got this message. Some more of us coming, baby. Man. Roll Tide. I said, look at this. I didn't get this big acceptance thing. And that is amazing. Good for him, man. That is, he used to come Baltimore? Sit. Yeah, he used to come sit in the play-by-play booth with me. And I told him, you better go to Alabama. You want my help.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I hope he comes. I got chills, man.
That's awesome.
That's my cousin's son. Yeah,
can't go wrong.
No, I just got this. That's so cool. You know,
you probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, man. I put him out. My sister went to Alabama. I love Alabama, man. I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else. You know,
once you get there around Tuscaloosa,
dude, you get there, man, and it's like when I was at Maryland, I've never felt like I was at home.
Yeah,
I came to Alabama and I was like, man, this is it, dude. Like I'm never leaving here.
Oh yeah,
ever.
Yeah, man. Even when I was, and I love Florida State so much. I love the people there. I mean, more than half the guys. At least half the guys in my wedding are old Florida State teammates. But there was a piece of me missing being in Florida rather than Alabama. You know, I love Alabama so much. Love the people here. Love everything about it. You know, the culture down here.
Too.
And
me too.
Me too. Just man. Genuine people. You know? And
well, but like, everybody's talking about Coach DeBoer, like he's going to come down and not fit in and all this. I'm like, man, I can't even fit in. I know he can fit in, and he's done it. I mean, because you got to be a little self-deprecating.
Well, let me tell you,
and be yourself, but people accept you
more
man.
than anything. And what people need to
genuine,
realize,
genuine,
a guy that left the situation he was in to come to Alabama.
Oh, I know.
I mean, the kind of balls you got to have.
I know.
To come in and
replace
Coach Saban. I mean, you got to think you're going to do better than Coach Saban.
I know. He does. Well, what are the guys saying?
Because if you have a 10-win season, that's a letdown, you know?
Look, he's telling them that he's here to win championships.
Oh, yeah.
I believe him.
I do, too.
I saw him. I'm telling you, man.
That's what he wants. That's his ultimate goal.
I saw the video of I'm watching the game. I was happy that he lost because him losing was me winning. You know that because I had just won some cash.
Well, had he won, he might not have come to Alabama.
If he won, then I would have been a little lighter in the pocket. So, but whatever. They played a hell of a game, and I see him walking in. You know, I love Michael Penix.
Yeah,
and I see Michael Penix is like he got his ass kicked by that Michigan defensive line, which by the way, no one's transferred from Michigan, which is crazy. By the way.
Yeah.
And
surprised we didn't pull a few.
Well, if Saban would have given us a day or two, I think we would have probably been better off. If we'd have had a couple days, I've said this before, give us a couple days to prepare. They had a whole week or two. They knew Harbaugh was done, right? But anyway, like, and I see like Penix and DeBoer, and DeBoer's just kind of like, but he's pissed. He's not happy. He was there. He was mad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's a guy that wants to win.
Oh, yeah. And I saw him give a little hug to Michael Penix.
He gave him a little something, but it wasn't like, hey, man, great. It was more like,
Yeah. Which I know he loves the guys, but.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like that. It was more like.
Yeah.
It wasn't like disrespectful. It was just like, we let it get away.
Yep. Well,
those are the kind of guys you want to be with.
Game, the problem with that game, and what had to have left him, very skeptical of Washington's future, was him and Ryan Grubb gave them every opportunity to win that game. There was, 8 plays within that game offensively that if Washington takes advantage of them, they probably win that game, and they were in the right position, open guys. They just couldn't withstand that physical dominance that Michigan brought to that atmosphere,
Oh, yeah.
And
they beat Alabama in overtime. They weren't losing. Well, they weren't losing to that Washington team.
We had
Alabama would have beat Washington too.
Oh yeah. Well, the national championship was played at the Rose Bowl.
It was, and that's the way it happened, man. But like things happen for a reason. And I've been impressed with Coach DeBoer, and I love the staff that he's putting together. And it looked like maybe Ryan Grubb might go to Seattle, but I think he's in, man. Like people keep saying, this is the same guy that turned down Coach Saban last year, Ryan Grubb, to be Alabama's offensive coordinator. Like not everybody's motivated by money. If he wants to go, it's an NFL job. Like, you take it, right? But if you want to stay in college, you stay here.
Nowadays, though, I mean, if he left, I couldn't blame him. You know,
well, with the fact that there's
coaching,
no rules,
I just wouldn't want to do it. In comparison to the NFL, there's no way, because you think all the time you spend away from your family recruiting high school kids, you got to spend even more time away because you got to recruit the kids on your roster.
I know. How crazy is it, man?
I mean, there's no guarantee there, and they're getting paid now.
I know.
And there's no guarantee.
Who was it was it you that was telling me that? No, it was Shank. He said that that the quarterback of the 49ers who's in the Super Bowl was the ninth highest paid player.
If he was in college, he would be making, he'd be ninth in line.
Mr. Irrelevant.
And I'm not sure that's
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Not Mr. trying to stay relevant. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Please don't hold that against me, please. People, you missed us. When's Shank coming back? I know we have an all-star cast of people that are coming to do this show, but
I texted him yesterday. He said spring track season has started, and so he's going to have a hard time getting away. But we'll just have to figure out a way to get around that.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do a Sunday afternoon.
Hey, I'm good. You, if it's for Shank, I'll do it anytime.
Oh yeah.
I want to host the Shank show.
That's right.
You know.
Well, we're gonna have one. We've been talking about this for a while. During the off season, you're gonna have a few podcasts with guests that have nothing to do with Alabama.
I'm all about it. Or they're Alabama fans, maybe.
Well, from Alabama.
From
Mobile. Yeah.
I'm all about that, man.
Yeah.
The LA podcast.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about John Lieber today before
Love
the podcast
John Lieber.
started.
I'm a Cubs guy, so
for everybody that doesn't know John Lieber, MLB pitcher from Mobile.
Did he go to South?
Yes, I believe
so.
so.
Yeah. Great pitcher, man. I remember him.
Pitched for the Cubs, Phillies, Yankees,
Royals.
Maybe the
Royals first.
But
I remember him on the Cubs.
Really, really successful.
Yeah. What's he do now?
I know he was developing properties down here.
Cool.
After he got done in baseball, but I think he's done well enough.
Hey, look,
I don't think he's.
I for years
Here's what I'll say. You remember? I think it's David J. Maloney. What's his name? The guy with all the commercials down here, the lawyer. He had a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl commercial with the Goodfellas theme. And I was talking to John one time. I don't know John very well. I've known him for a long time, but I don't really know him, like on a good friend basis.
You haven't like made one of your rattlesnake comments. You haven't dropped a rattlesnake comment on them?
I don't have to be good friends with you to make
okay.
jokes. Then we've had a few good times together, but he was telling me, he goes, I sold my house, his last house. This is probably sharing too much information, but I don't think he'll care.
Share it. Who cares?
He's like,
at this point, no one's. We're 58 minutes in. No one's even watching.
He said, I sold my last house to David J. Maloney. He's like, that lawyer. I was like, yeah. He almost didn't buy it because he couldn't get his Aston Martin out of the driveway.
Oh God. That's a good problem.
I was like, that's how you know you're doing pretty well.
Hey, if we need to get to that point.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know if I can fit my Ferrari in this garage.
Man, I'll tell you what, when I was down there visiting Father Carl, like he's a mile from the beach in Boca, and it's all Ferraris and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like that's some high class living there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, again,
have you been there before? To Boca Raton?
Yeah.
Golly, man.
Oh yeah.
He's got stories like he's big. He loves horse racing. He's always loved
the
horse
hedges
racing.
around there.
Oh yeah, that's how the church is. You know.
Oh man, it's crazy.
I shouldn't be so proud of a priest, but it's like kind of like, man, I'm just so happy for him. You know what I mean? Like I go and I'm like, wow, man.
He's a South Florida Joel Osteen.
He is now. I mean, should have seen us like watching the Ravens lose. I'm like, you can't take the Baltimore out of somebody. If the sanctuary heard this language, Lamar, it's really the offensive line, but. So all right. Let's talk Super Bowl. Like, this is a hard one for me because the story, and I'm going to remind everybody. I'm at spring training, and I'm supposed to broadcast the Cubs and the White Sox on radio on Friday. I'm supposed to do the Cubs and maybe the Brewers on TV on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
COVID happens. And
I've heard this story.
Yeah, man. Have you not heard this one?
No.
All right. Well, then I'll hold it for you.
Right back.
Well, I got to wait for you, but let me just. This will be a great time for me to tell everybody about Lance's Lock. Let me tell you guys about Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. As you try to put together your plays, and you need some help with those, check out Lance's Lock, man. He is on a heater again now. You're talking about college basketball. You talk about the NBA. You got the Super Bowl coming up, or the big game, whatever you call that. And Lance's Lock's got you covered. So make sure that you check it out. And don't forget, as you do that, you can go to MyBookie, mybookie.ag, and MyBookie will take care of you up to 50% price match when you make that initial wager using the promo code next round. So Super Bowl is always an awesome time to kind of get your feet wet when it comes to doing that, like throwing down your wagers. So do it for yourself right now. MyBookie.ag, and they bring you this show. This is probably not the show that they expected to bring, but they're bringing it. No, I'm just kidding. I hope they like it. So what was I talking about?
COVID.
Oh yeah, so I'm like gonna be on Cubs radio on the Score in Chicago, Cubs TV, Marquee Sports Network, and I've only worked my whole life to get this job, right? And I just got back from Vegas, which remind me because I got my Dead and Company Spear tickets yesterday. I've been planning my whole day about being on the phone. Anyway, so I fly back from Vegas where I had just done the Cubs and the Reds, and I get back and they shut everything down, and they're sending everybody home. So that night I'm like, well, there's only one thing to do.
And where were you living at this point?
This is in Arizona, like spring training.
Yeah.
So I said, there's only one thing to do. What do you do when something like that happens?
I mean,
you find a drink.
I was about to say when I got hurt and with the Cardinals and I was headed home. Yeah,
you go get a drink.
My now wife and I,
Old Town,
in Arizona airport.
Well, I was in Old Town, in Old Town Scottsdale.
Oh yeah, I've been to Old Town.
You know Old Town. So I'm walking out. I'm going to get a drink, and here's Rick Sutcliffe. On a who Rick Sutcliffe is, Cubs pitcher.
Oh yeah,
he's on a golf cart. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I tell him the same thing. He's like, well, get on the golf cart. I got your drinks. So now I'm bar hopping on Rick Sutcliffe golf cart in Old Town, right? So I go to R&R and the beer cheeseburger place. And then we went to Dierks Bentley's bar there, which is a country bar. And we're at Dierks Bentley's bar. And,
yeah, that's a hell of a night. Bar hopping with Rick Sutcliffe.
It was great. And he's like, hey, Travis Kelce's going to meet us. My friend Travis Kelce. So now Travis Kelce shows up. And now we're all hanging out. And he's got his own posse. And so it's hard for me. I'll show you the picture. It's hard for me to, even though I didn't like Travis Kelce in that Ravens game, he just seemed like somebody I wanted to hit real hard. I can't
in that Pfizer commercial.
Yeah, the Pfizer commercial. It's hard for me to pull against him because I know he's a good dude. Like hung out with him. Like I like.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
make jokes. I mean, I don't know. You know, I know he did well with that Pfizer commercial, but you never know what's being thrown in front of people.
Well, he wasn't dating what's her name back then?
Oh man, you had some short hair back then.
Yeah, I did, man. That was corporate Mick right there.
It's like y'all were bar hopping at like 11 a.m.
It was I'm a day drinker. Is there a problem with that? Can I day drink? I mean, you know, like it went on for a while, but I mean, like in Arizona, you finish up like the games are all day games.
Yeah.
But they canceled the game. And the long days. They're long days. But he's actually a really good dude. So I don't know, man. They're going to lose to the 49ers.
I think he's a good guy.
They're going to lose to the 49ers.
I think they're all good guys. You know, I mean, it just, again, I can't imagine, again, you can't judge somebody when you hadn't been through that kind of scenario, because I cannot imagine. Can you imagine what he's dealing with every day? All the people trying to grab at him.
How you doing over there?
Nah, I'm good.
You good?
But you cannot.
I'm going to throw a topic up and go outside real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna ISO you right here.
You want me to start talking about Lance's locks?
No, that's what I do. You tell me what you think it's like for someone like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes to go through whatever they're going through right now.
Oh,
and I'm gonna listen outside.
You're gonna listen outside?
I mean, I gotta go see something.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I'll be right back.
So, man, this is kind of awkward. When I was at the Senior Bowl, that was about the only time I feel like I ever felt that kind of pressure or that kind of I guess public notoriety. Wasn't a big buffer. People just all over you, and by the end of the week, I kind of started losing my mind. I don't know how these guys handle people grabbing at you all the time, wanting something from you all the time, can't even go out in public. That's what it felt like. We just won the national championship and came back to my hometown and loved being a part of the Senior Bowl. It was a dream of mine to play in it. Had been there. Man, I've been at all the practices they used to have at my high school. Just some of those memories that from childhood to actually be able to live them out and play in the Senior Bowl was something I'll never forget and always cherish. But by the end of the week at the Senior Bowl, I was just talking about my experience there.
Yeah, I heard you, everything you were saying.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's kind of awkward in here without just one person. Sorry to leave you hanging earlier.
No, I like it, man. I mean, you did it great.
No, but that was the only time I felt like, you know, I was in a hotel. My roommate was Kenyon Drake. And the only way we could.
I need him to sign that. I told the Daniel Moore people that today. I want when he needs to come in here.
Yeah, he'd do it. He'd do it for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But like
was he the fastest dude on the team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going. Just making sure.
No, but that was the only time I ever felt overwhelmed with just clutter.
Yeah, right. So much stuff going on.
You know, even when we got back to Tuscaloosa after national championship, I mean, I'd never been in an environment where I didn't have controls over what I could do once I was released from responsibilities, you know, from football. But there you were in a hotel and you had one place to go to get away and kind of lose your mind in that hotel room. You want to go around and then people are just all over you. And I don't even know what I don't know how guys like Travis Kelce, especially right now with the Taylor Swift situation, where every time you leave your house, you're just swarmed by people.
Yeah.
And they always want pictures. They always want, I mean, God, Taylor Swift, I don't know how she hadn't lost her mind.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He was a good dude. Like, I liked him. Like, Rick was like, hey, this is one of my buddies. And the only reason I really was like, the only reason I took that picture, because I don't really do a lot of that, was because I'm in a
when was this? Oh, it was 2020.
2020. Yeah. I'm in a fantasy football league where it's very competitive.
And you try to make that trade.
They would. I told you they would. She wouldn't trade it. She would not trade him to me. She would not trade him to me. And I'm like, I'll give you anything, because that team.
Had you met him before?
No.
Or
after and I was like, man, I've tried to get you on my fantasy team.
Was that picture taken prior to? Or
no, before. It was after I didn't get him in the trade. But
it was after the draft.
Oh,
the fantasy league draft.
It was the regular season in the fantasy league. So this girl used to work with me.
The picture was taken during the fantasy league regular season.
After the season, I lost.
Okay.
And I lost because she was out. She wouldn't trade him to me. She didn't work for us anymore with us, with the team. But I'm still good friends with her, and her husband works for the Orioles. Like, he's one of the coaches for the Orioles. I'm buddies with him too. And I'm like buttering her up, like, you got to make this trade. You got to make this trade, because that team just needed a tight end.
Yeah, yeah.
She wouldn't trade him to me, and I was like, man, I've been trying to get you. Like, you don't even know. You got to take a picture, because I got to send it to her.
Oh, yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not a picture.
I'm not a big guy, but you know what? Then I took it. I'm like, now Stephanie's like, hey, you know Travis Kelce. I'm like, that's from like 4 years ago now.
And I just met him one time at a bar.
I just hung out. I don't know him. Yeah. His entourage, though, like, it was really like Entourage. Like, he had Turtle and all them guys with him, you know?
Yeah.
He had an entourage, but he was cool, man. He was cool. So even
my point there is that when you're in that kind of limelight, and again, I wouldn't even know how to speak to that realm of fame.
Right. Are you comfortable with that realm of fame?
I think I would be if I figured out how to manage it.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't know. My thing's like, I got to have a structured schedule, you know, and when I get out of whack, man, I get out of whack.
I've told you this off the air. I'll tell you this on the air. Like, I'm always afraid I'm not going to know what to say when I meet people, and people are fans of the stuff that we do, you know, and me do, you know, and it's like, I always want to meet them. I just don't always know what to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard.
Well,
you know?
It's easy when I meet somebody and you get that feel that they're kind of, I don't know. I guess the people that I hang out with and are friends with for the most part are kind of just off the cuff, you know, transparent. You know who they
come
are.
Up to you and do what I told you I did to Greg Maddox. Did I say it on this? Right?
If somebody pulls something like that with me,
you love them.
I'm gonna love them.
That's how I am too.
I mean, you know,
that's how I got the
people that are really reserved and you kind of get that vibe that everything's politically correct. I'm like, I don't know what to say. You know, because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
I was going through a box today of pictures and looking for something because I found the picture of my Bronco I showed you, and I found these pictures of like Greg Maddox, like when he was with the Braves late in his career, and I was like looking through them, and I'm like, hey, I said, I never knew. I didn't even remember taking these. I didn't at that point in my life. I never would have thought I'd have been friends with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know I had him. And then when I'm looking at him, and it's like me being like in the stands taking a picture, and he looks like he's like this small.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Never knowing that I was going to walk up to him one day and go, hey, Greg, fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And be friends with him, you know? Or whatever you call it. You know? He's a great dude.
I
man.
love that kind of stuff.
He's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that kind
I'm
of
watching
stuff.
him smoke cigarettes behind the wall at Old Turner Field. I'm like just like a baseball fan, and I'm like, what's he doing over there? Like
that guy. I wonder what Greg Max's IQ is.
That's got to be way up there.
I mean, because I've heard stories about him predicting what a batter's going to do versus a certain pitcher.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've sent you the one. What didn't I?
Was that you that I don't know?
He predicted that the base coach was going to
get
hit.
Yes.
He told me that, and then I went back and read it.
You better look out.
yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
apparently there was one in the dugout that he did that too.
Yeah, and the first base coach is like,
he's yelling out,
right.
"Look out!"
Before he even swings the bat. Before the pitch is thrown.
I was telling somebody in my family some Greg Maddux stories. I don't even know, like, you know how you there's certain stuff that you want to talk about and other stuff that you don't, because you don't want to make anybody mad.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I've got some good ones, and he told me, like, but I don't want to. I heard Smoltz telling some, I don't know, like 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, I would love to hear the rest of these, because I've got, the ones he's told me have been pretty good. Yeah. Guy's crazy, man, in a good way, like funny, but
Oh yeah. I mean,
I've told you some of them.
Well, his interviews are great. I mean,
he's on now. I see him some.
Oh yeah, he's on podcasts now and talks about calling his own pitches and just some of the analytical baseball stuff.
He said to me, he's like, have you ever seen my numbers against Barry Bonds? And I'm like, no.
That's
you look him up, and then he's like, yeah, I walked him. He just got to the point where he just walked him. Man, what a great competitor.
Oh yeah, he used to, you'd see him stick his mouth in his glove, and that glove would be shaking.
Mm-hmm.
What a Smoltz, Glavine, Maddux on the same.
But you know what he's told me that too, and I've had this conversation. He's like, don't forget about Millwood and Avery. He brings up the other guys that were part of those rotations.
Yeah.
But you're right; those guys are the 3 Hall of Famers.
Well, the thing with that though is that they were in the golden era of Braves baseball at that time. I mean, I know the Braves had won. They won a World Series together.
Yeah, they did. But they were in a lot of them.
What's that?
They were in a lot of them.
I mean, they were like the Jack Nicklaus of baseball. They were always, if they weren't winning it all, they were right there in the mix.
Yeah. Good point.
But they had endeared themselves to the league, and I actually heard where, I don't know, Greg Maddux or Tom Glavine talked about, possibly not even wanting to pitch in this era of baseball because of the amount of pressures and the amount of exposure that all these guys get now.
Well, and also,
it's just a different era now.
It's not a good era right now.
The thing, when they played, your persona was built on the field. Now, it's just everybody knows what you're doing all the time, and it's a different. You can't really have a professional life anymore playing pro sports. It's all a lot of your off the field annex, or even if it's just fun with the guys. I mean, that gets out. You can't have a private life anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a different world.
Because those guys, man, they had back in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. I mean, that was a different world of pro sports. I mean, they for some of the stuff I've heard, it's like old pro wrestling. Where they just go have a time. And I mean, Darryl Strawberry, he talks about it a little bit.
I told you Darryl Strawberry. I told you the Darryl Strawberry story. I can't even believe it.
But I don't know if you've watched that 30 for 30, but he talks about what they used to do off the field.
Well, he said that in the thing when I met him, and I was like, I had no idea that they were doing cocaine on planes and all the other stuff.
He was talking about games. He was like, man, when you took some of that stuff, baseball looked like an orange, looked like a softball coming in.
Really?
Just I don't know, man. It's just a different world back then.
Yeah.
You know.
Bama basketball's in first right now. Got a big game against Auburn. I saw that the Auburn kids are camping out.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about this one.
Nice.
But I'll tell you what. Sears,
I'm going to watch it, but I don't have a good feeling about it.
Yeah. Sears. Debate's good.
Let me tell you what, though.
Like, this is a good team again.
If we win Wednesday, though, we got to be way up there in the rankings. I mean,
we're number 16, but Nate Oates said, like, he said their internals have them at 10. I agree, man. They played a real schedule. They played a real schedule.
And that we've been talking about this the entire podcast. Love it. Love it. I mean, play everybody you can.
I love it.
Anytime, anywhere. The old Florida State adage that Coach Bowden had. Anytime, anywhere. Let's play and see what happens. You know,
I'm concerned, man. We're gonna lose Nate. You know, they've got all the excuses why we don't have the new building and we're not doing this and that. We're not going to be able to replace him. I'm just sorry to say it, but that Coleman stinks, and if they don't replace that, it just needs to be replaced. Like you got like one of the best 3 or 4 coaches in the country.
Yeah,
and if you're not careful, somebody's going to come in and buy them away, and all your excuses they're not going to fly when the right money comes in.
Basketball is, I mean, we did it for football. We did whatever Coach Saban wanted.
That's right.
If you want to be good at basketball, you better do whatever whatever Coach Oates wants.
I'm just telling you right now, be worried. Yeah. Because this arena was supposed to be started. We saw the plans.
Greg Byrne's working his ass off.
I know, and I like Greg Byrne too. I'm not saying that's a Greg Byrne issue. I'm just saying, like, I'm worried that I've been to all of them. I used to do, I used to work for Crimson Tide Sports Network. I went to all of them. Ours stinks. It's too big. It's like an air.
I've been to Coleman,
It's like you're parking planes in there, man. You're going to Auburn. You're right on the field, right on the court, and it's new and it's nice. And Coleman just sucks. It's made for gymnastics. Perfect for gymnastics. You get the balance beam in there. You get the mats in there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need any more space for gymnastics. But for basketball, man, the crowd's way up out of the way.
Yeah, when you got a nosebleed seat in Coleman,
you're way up there.
Yeah, you feel
your nose literally bleeds.
You feel like you've got a nosebleed seat.
It's there's no luxury boxes, Yeah. And Alabama's so lucky to have Nate Oates. He's so lucky, man. Like, Greg Byrne's done a great job. I love Greg Byrne. Like,
well, that's that is a double-edged sword, though. You get somebody, because when Nate Oates was hired, nobody. I mean, he had a winning record at Buffalo, or Buffalo, right? Yeah. Yeah, man. I think he was a high school coach prior to that.
Yeah, he was.
And then went to Buffalo, and Greg Byrne. I mean, talk about finding a diamond in the rough.
He saw something, right?
I mean,
who are we going to get next? If this guy leaves. So I wish that we were serious.
I know he loves Tuscaloosa.
He does, but man, I mean, he wants to win championships, and
well, we had a chance. I mean, last year that team was the most talented team in the country.
I know, man. That was disappointing. If the whole tragedy doesn't happen, man, it's a different season.
Yeah, put a damper on everything.
It really was just awful.
And I still don't know all the details of that story.
Man. I don't either. But I don't know, dude. I don't even want to go down there because there's so much that I could say. And
the same way,
and it's like, man.
All I'll say about that is that it's, and I've said this on this podcast before, when you've got team or players that you care about, it means a lot if they're trying to do the right thing and they're mixed up in the wrong situation, but they're good guys and they're trying to do the right thing. And again, this is a whole different scenario because there was a murder involved. And I don't know what Brandon Miller's part was in all this. But here's what I'll say: it's like Coach Saban. Some of the guys, even I played with, ran into some hard times with, some things that a dumb teenager would do, and I don't know what. I cannot emphasize enough. I don't know. I haven't followed the case close enough to make any statements. But if he truly felt like it was an innocent scenario where the guy could really flourish and evolve and become a staple in society, then you want to support that guy. Brandon Miller's doing really well now.
Oh yeah, look, I have one dude. I'm 100% behind Brandon Miller. Like he wasn't involved in that, man. He just came to pick those guys up.
Yeah, I mean,
100%. He's getting sued because he's got the money.
Yeah, I don't know what all's. Again, I don't know all the details. You know more than I do.
Yeah, no, I mean the other two guys not. I'm not saying.
But if you're a coach and you're involved in the situation and you know that he had good intentions and he played no part in the ultimate tragedy.
Well, he'd be in jail if he did.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like he would not be like playing bad. If he.
Well, the other guy, what's his name, who got arrested, shortly after all that happened. I don't know. I'm not getting all that. But
I know what you mean, man.
But I don't know. It means a lot, especially to Brandon Miller, if you've got a guy that sticks up for you in the heat of a moment like that, where you truly are kind of ignorant to the situation. You're just trying to help, and you get involved.
Yeah, that
I mean, there's a lot of guys that Coach Saban has kept on a team and guided throughout the rest of their career that have done really well for themselves and for their communities, and turned them into really positive contributors to society.
Yeah.
Because once you go down the road of kicking a guy out and just sending him back to where he's from, if that is a bad neighborhood or a bad atmosphere, you're just creating another problem.
Oh yeah. No, man. I don't think Brandon Miller had anything to do with it other than just showing up. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
you got to see it. If you've been around guys that come from rough neighborhoods, I mean, some guys are going to have some tendencies sometimes that they got to figure out and grow and learn, and they need guidance through that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a controversial thing to say. I mean, some guys have learned habits based on what they've been around, what they've seen.
Well, if he wouldn't be in the NBA scoring 35 points a game if there was any evidence that he did anything other than just show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I that's what I hope. I don't know. It's completely out of ignorance. What I'm just trusting that Nate Oates made the best decision for the career and the well-being of one of his players.
Yeah.
But again, you cut ties with a guy that's got a lot of potential that came from a bad atmosphere, and I don't know if he did or not, but you cut ties with guys. I mean, that can ruin a life.
Yeah.
And ultimately affect a lot more people than just the guy you cut.
Yeah. No doubt, man. So last week here with the Senior Bowl, what all did you do? You just go?
Man, I went to the practice on Wednesday.
So now that you're like a alumni, do you just get to show up and stuff?
Jim Nagy's got a pack. Jim Nagy's done a hell of a job.
So you just say
Senior Bowl.
Do you say like I'm Elephant in the Room podcast guy? He walk in.
Yeah, that's right.
You just like throw that out there.
Yeah. That's the tape cutter. They just open it up. No, but Jim's done a great job. I've known Jim since he was a scout with Seattle. Actually, he interviewed me when I was at the Senior Bowl.
Really?
For Seattle. And he was a Southeastern scout. He lived in my parents' neighborhood.
Wow.
And my mom was like, "Who is this guy that he works with Seattle?" And he says good things about you. And I was like, I have no idea. And looked him up and realized I had seen him at practices and had talked to him. He's always just such a genuine, nice guy.
Yeah.
And then I got to know him a little bit at the Senior Bowl, and we talked. And I don't know, just one of those guys that you know, when you talk to him, you know, you're talking to, this is him, you know, transparent guy.
Yeah.
But he set up a package for the former players of the Senior Bowl, and he allows you to come out on the field and, you know, meet everybody. And hell, when I come to the Senior Bowl, I see all kinds of guys. I saw Coach Smart there. Clint Trickett was there, who I played with at Florida State.
Yeah, yeah. Where's he at now?
He was at Marshall. Now he's on the job hunt.
What happened at Marshall?
You know, I think they had I think they were a couple wins above 500, and
the herd.
You know, when
the thunderclap,
when the when the head coach gets a little nervous, heads start rolling. You know, and that's college coaching,
man.
So
okay,
I think he's a great coach. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. He was just small. That was the only thing. I think he was 6'1", 175.
Wait, you played with him?
Yeah. Yeah. He was a year older than me at Florida State.
Really? He was on the offensive line?
No. He was a quarterback.
Clint, the offensive line coach?
Coach Trickett's son was Clint.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think he was the youngest. At one point, he was the youngest college football coach in the country. He's like 28 and was a tight ends coach, I think, at FAU with Lane.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, you said you were doing the Senior Bowl, and I just saw you eating Reese's cups, and
I did eat a few Reese's cups.
You?
Oh yeah.
One of these days I want to go to it, but if I had the choice between that and Rick's Bloody Marys, I'll take your word for it.
I'll catch you at the next Senior Bowl.
I'll take your word for it. Next year, I want this show there. We just got to find a sponsor.
Oh yeah. No, it was good. I mean, again, Senior Bowl running into so many people that met through football. It's crazy, the network.
Anybody say they saw your show?
Some of them actually did.
Did they?
You know,
I was ready for you to say no, so I was going to say we got to get there.
Yeah. Not the whole show, but like clips of certain cut ups.
Man, come on.
Like some of Ryan Anderson in here.
Well, yeah, Rhino. And he's awesome.
The story about Lane saying he wouldn't want to live in Detroit.
That was a funny one. Our greatest hits, man.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the thing about
putting the nightgown back on.
Oh, I know, that was funny. The thing about it is like
Ryan called me a dumbass for not going to Alabama.
Yeah, that was funny. Well, I'm the dumbass because it took me a minute to realize what he was saying.
I've watched that one a few times because it's so funny watching you start laughing when you realize
I'm quarterbacking. I'm handing off, and then all of a sudden Ryan just reminds me of, I've told you this, he just reminds me of the guys I grew up with. Like, so I hear a lot of the stuff that I used to hear on the playground with him.
The funny about Ryan is like sometimes I'll be a little nervous about things I say. Just I don't want to ruffle the feathers, but he does not give a damn. And when people see him that may be offended, he would just be like, take that shit somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If you're gonna do something about it, do something about it.
Right.
And if not, then go somewhere else. Don't be around me.
How about when,
because there is absolutely no confusion on what he thinks of you ever.
What about when Shank said that he told him he was going to kick his ass if he lose some weight. He's like, well, I started CrossFit.
He said, Shank, if you don't lose some weight, man, you're going to fight.
Yeah.
Next time I see you, we're going to fight.
God, man. It's just like you.
But what a friend, you know.
I love him, man. I think that's
just
great.
Be, I mean, completely honest, you know.
Get to this age though, you're like, come on, don't fight me because I might slip up.
I don't have good health insurance.
Well, he's coming back soon. You said he's coming
Friday.
back Friday.
Yeah.
Let's get him back on.
I say that he said he was coming back to town Thursday. So
if you did, I've got to go out of town tomorrow, but I could be back Thursday night if we needed to. If Ryan was going to be here,
I won't be here Thursday, but Friday.
Friday, okay. Yeah. We'll do. I'm up for whatever, man.
Friday.
I told you I got some I got some business I got to take care of. Spend a lot of money. I didn't hold back. When I wanted a Rick's long sleeve boat shirt, I bought it. You know what I mean?
The Rick's Bloody Mary mix.
Oh, the Bloody Marys were so good, man. Like, and I'm telling her, I'm like, these Bloody Marys are great. Like, she's not buying. She's looking at me like, I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, there's no.
You know who also has Whiskey Willie's, one of the best Bloody Marys I've had.
Man, you know, let me tell you about Whiskey Willie's. I'm doing my pregame show from the Floribama on the Bama tailgate, God. And Whiskey Willie was there.
Oh yeah.
Did I tell you this?
Oh yeah.
And he comes over and he gets on. Those are good too.
You didn't tell me this.
No, he came on and got on the air with me. The Whiskey Willie, and he was telling me about.
He's a hustler.
Those are good too, but like, this is different, man. Like these are like.
Well, I say this. I
like those a lot.
He gave me some.
I like Whiskey
mix, and I love it. I mean, but I played in the Floribama mullet toss golf tournament.
I've heard
a few years in a row.
I've heard about that
with old Paul. But Whiskey Willie makes all the Bloody Marys there.
Does he?
And so he makes them himself, him or one of his family members, and they make them at the golf course. And man,
they're pretty smoking.
Done with their touch. I mean, it's their mix,
They know what they're doing.
That's one of the.
I like those too. Like they're up there on my list.
Got good shrimp, sausage, all kinds of stuff in it.
Man, don't even start with me. Don't even start. Crab lump. When you put jumbo lump crab meat on a good Bloody Mary, I went to last year. I was in Key West, and I went to I think it's called Shuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want a Bloody Mary, and it was pretty early, and it was the worst. The shrimp looked like it died like a month ago. Yeah. Like it was
like
watered
a crawfish
down.
with a straight tail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great analogy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, this is the worst, So this year I was like, because I've been on this diet, which I was going to tell you, like, I'm going to do dry February, but what I'm doing is like, remember Richard Simmons? You remember Richard Simmons?
Yeah, dry February.
Well, I know. Let me get to it. He had these meal deal cards. I'm giving myself 6 days in February to drink.
All right. They better all fall on the day we do the show.
We'll do a lot of the shows, and then I'm going to take the family to Mardi Gras. That's why I'm
parade downtown.
Yeah. You should come meet us.
I'll be around this weekend for sure.
I'm going to. That's why I'm going to get my business meeting done today or tomorrow, so that I can. Because next week their kids are out of school. I mean, I'll be on.
Oh yeah, this is y'all's first. Is this y'all's first Mardi Gras out of? Wait, no.
But last year I was like, I loaded them all up and we went, and I posted up at a place and.
Man, people down here take it very.
I mean,
of course, the home of Mardi Gras, Mobile.
Yeah, I don't know. We know what you do. What do you do with all the moon pies?
Well, what a lot of people do nowadays is a lot of them ride floats, and all throws they catch, they throw in their bag, and they just throw again.
Oh, they throw them again. Yeah. Do you get the ride? I need to see it. That's where I need your help. I need to be in a float. I don't know anybody for that. I want to be on the float.
I couldn't be on a float.
Would you be throwing too hard?
Just
Would you want to like give him like the Ardarius Stewart pass?
No, it would be very uncatchable.
Last year, Stephanie got black eye from beads.
Oh, yeah,
she's like, and I'm like still catching shit.
Man up, man up.
Yeah. Like off her face, like I'm like. And you get them home, and I've got like 8 pounds of beads. Like, what am I doing with these?
That's right.
It feels like Mardi Gras came early this year too.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did. It falls on February 10th, or right around here. What, I guess every like 4 years.
Yeah.
But the only reason I know is it's the last weekend of deer season this weekend, and it falls on the Tuesday.
Always, it's something always around deer season.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with. That's my main hobby outside of that is my main hobby.
Yeah. I feel like deer season for you is
it's the Super Bowl.
It is the Super Bowl. I get that. I used to be there, man. It's
a great way to get away.
It is. I like it too. And I just feel like right now I got so many things going on. Like I can't just sit there, but when I was in college and I used to go out, it was so good to just like get in the stand, or I had this amazing tree climber, man. Like,
oh yeah.
Loved it. Just get up there in that tree and just sit, and I'd see animals that I never saw before. And, it'd be so quiet. Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
Especially now. This time of year, they're all rutting, running, chasing,
Oh, yeah. You're ruining the rut.
Yeah. Mardi Gras jacking up my.
So you don't expect anything crazy to happen. Ryan Williams is in.
I think he's in. I think so. Yeah. I think so.
QB.
I mean, I don't know that for sure.
No, but I got you. You're confident.
Oh, my boy Denzel, he's got it done.
Yeah,
that's what I trust. I think he's got it figured out, but you never know, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Hell, nothing's guaranteed either nowadays. He could be gone next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been. I missed doing it last week. I missed all you guys when I was in Key West, and
I'm sure you did.
Do I look tan? Do I look like I got some sun?
You look like you got some sun.
I did. Honestly, like on the way back, I just wanted to turn around and go back again.
Yeah. You missed us for sure.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I think that next year we got to figure out a way like to just take the show down there.
Is there, I go to some places like Nashville, there's an Alabama bar. Boston, there's an Alabama bar. Is there an Alabama bar down there?
There's a bar. The crazy thing about those bars is like they get started early, man. And they're fun.
Gotta get those Bloody Marys and mimosas going.
Early, man. Early. Great
well, if
view.
you're it's a tourist town,
It is. The Jimmy Buffett connection, like being in Captain Tony's, and
that's like Orange Beach, man. And Coastal, Tacky Jacks.
Yeah.
You get breakfast, one hell of a Bloody Mary at both.
Yeah. Coastal's good, man. They've done a good job. For a new place, it's great.
Hey, man, anything Florida touches.
I know. I'm just excited about us going to Raleigh Green.
I can't wait. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Big Earl knows him really well.
Yeah. Well,
they're like really close friends.
I was
Big Earl used to go on tour. I mean, he was a big act at one point.
I think Big Earl's great, man.
Oh, he's really good. I don't know. I may have told a few of my stories on here, but I'll tell you after this podcast.
Did you spin the wheel?
I had to do worse up there. I was a target of a lot of verbal assaults.
When are we going to do our show from there, man? That's the thing. We need to do our show from there.
We got to do that for sure, especially when Dunaway and all those guys.
LT said they're working on coming back, so
have to do a show on the golf course.
Yeah,
and just basically,
we're doing Striker Strong.
Basically, but basically a Dunaway roast. Just
he kind of he kind of dug at you a little bit. He didn't even mention what I talked about.
Yeah, well, he's gonna get the raw end of that deal.
I watch those guys every day, man. They're good. They got a good show.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy them. All right. Any final thoughts? We did an hour and 44 today. We gave the people what they were missing.
Yeah.
I'll give you my final thoughts while you're thinking. All right. We stopped doing NASA. And the reason is because we figured out that the way that you travel through space is you take element 115 and you amplify the gravity, and it creates a bowl, and you push whatever that you're trying to move into that space that is unoccupied by gravity. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going, what am I talking about?
Hey, you're gonna
look it up.
You're going to decide to close on this.
Well, I'm just saying, look it up. Look
that's
at the
fact anti-gravity element.
And that's and the Naval Aviation patented that technology in 2020. And Bob Lazar started talking about it in '88. What are you? But about you? Now it's your turn, Jake.
I think there's a good chance aliens are real.
Yeah, they are. Come on. Real good chance. Especially now that we have videos of their spaceships.
All right, let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, Jake Coker, I'm Mick Gillispie. Hey, don't forget, guys, that you need to check out MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code next round to get up to 50% price match to $1,000 on your next wager. And with the Super Bowl coming up and obviously the NBA and college basketball, all of that stuff's a great time to do it. If you need any help with what you're doing, Lance's Lock and lanceslock.com, man. We appreciate it. It's been great. We will talk to you guys again on Friday, hopefully with a special guest, Ryan Anderson. I'm ready for I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. I got a feeling he's going to have a lot to say.
Yeah, I got a feeling I have to put the earmuffs on.
For Jake Coker, I'm Mick Gillispie. Elephant in the room. Roll Tide, everybody.